The bill is a life-saving piece of legislation rooted in the long medical experience of our colleague, Representative Raul Ruiz, and responsive to the needs of the children and families in CBP custody. The Trump administration's immigration policies have intentionally dehumanized immigrant children and families and pushed them into severely crowded CBP cells where many are forced to stand for weeks on end. The administration asserts that these conditions are the inevitable result of large numbers of people seeking protection at our border, but that's not true. A competent administration would plan for the expected arrival and care of immigrants in need of protection. It would staff child welfare and healthcare professionals at CBP facilities so that our CBP agents could focus on their mission of vigilance, integrity, and professionalism. A capable administration would support CBP agents in the identification of individuals who pose a risk to our country and facilitate the release of families and individuals who pose no risk so that overcrowding is not an issue. The Trump administration has done none of this, and so CBP agents are guarding families instead of the border and administering punishment on children instead of going after criminals. This does nothing to protect the United States, but it does undermine the mission, morale, integrity, and professionalism of CBP officers. It's got to stop. This bill cuts through the Trump administration's incompetence and restores order and basic humanity to the processing of immigrants at the border. It requires that each CBP facility include at least one medical professional. It could be a nurse practitioner, an EMT, to conduct health screenings for individuals upon arrival. It mandates that other emergency care professionals be immediately available so that if a life-threatening situation arises, it can be addressed quickly instead of hours later at a hospital. The bill prohibits the severe overcrowding of children, families, and single adults, which has become the norm in CBP custody facilities, which exposes immigrants as well as our staff to health and safety concerns. The bill requires that clean clothing and nutritious food be made available to immigrants in CBP custody so that they are no longer forced to eat bologna sandwiches at every meal and wear clothing soiled from the sweat and heat of overcrowding. In short, this bill is the plan for CBP custody that the Trump administration seems incapable of putting together. I'd like to recommend Representative and Dr. Raul Ruiz for his effort and commitment to the safety and dignity of every person, regardless of their origin. And I would urge my colleagues to support this bill. The crisis that we see at the border, and we had a subcommittee hearing just this Monday, a report from the Inspector General of the Department of Homeland Security with simply shocking reports of overcrowding and unacceptable conditions that violate the standards of the department. If we do not act, more people will sicken and die. I'm mindful that these conditions are a choice that the Trump administration has made. While people have piled up in these border facilities, empty space was available in ICE facilities. I'm mindful that in 2014, when there was a surge of immigrants coming to our southern border, the Obama administration constructed an overflow facility that housed over 1,000 people in 10 days to avoid the kind of disorder that the president has allowed to be created because of the asylum seekers. So we need to put some order into this situation. If the president's administration can't manage this, the Congress needs to step in, and I would urge that we pass this bill.